So one day in 8th grade, the school had a fire drill. Pretty normal, the alarm goes off, and the teacher lines everybody up. But this one kid, he had a plan. I have a plan. See, earlier that week, the teacher said something that gave him an idea. If there's ever a fire class, you should only take the essentials, okay? So, while everyone walked out with nothing, this kid sprinted out carrying his entire desk, chair included. He was full speed hauling it through the hallway. Hey, why are you taking your desk? Young man, what are you doing? And he just yelled back, "It's an essential!" And then outside, while the whole school stood in the parking lot, he sat down at his desk, like it was a normal school day. He started pulling out his notebooks and he was taking fake notes. The kid was a real comedian. Everyone was dying of laughter. Teachers were too confused to even yell at him. And then when the principal finally came over and asked, "Hi, what are you doing?" He just shrugged and said, "I thought we were evacuating, so I evacuated my education." Okay. And after that, every single fire drill, someone tried to take something bigger out with them. It became this crazy thing that people were doing, until one day the principal got on the intercom and begged, "During fire drills, students, please, stop taking the furniture outside with you. Please." Honestly, that kid's a legend. One day the school had a guest speaker come for an assembly. The whole school was packed into the gym. Hundreds of students, everyone bored out of their mind. The speaker was some local business guy, and all he was going to be doing was talking about leadership and hard work. Nobody was paying attention. Until about 20 minutes in, a student, let's call him Kevin, stood up. "Excuse me?" The entire gym went silent. Everyone looked at him. Even the speaker stopped mid-sentence. And in a serious, confident voice, the kid says, "I have a question." Yeah, totally. What's your question?" And then Kevin, without hesitation, asked, "Would you rather fight a gorilla once a year but you get a sword? Or have to fight a chicken every time you open a door forever?" The entire gym lost it. The teachers were stunned. The speaker stood there processing. Finally, I think I'd take the gorilla." And Kevin just nodded. Respectable choice. And he sat back down. Well, as you can imagine, the entire assembly was completely derailed. For the next 10 minutes, students were arguing about the gorilla or the chicken. The gorilla's the obvious choice. I mean, what are you gonna do? Every single time you open a door, you gotta fight a chicken? I just won't open doors, you idiot. Like, that's realistic. How are you gonna go forever without opening doors? The principal finally got on the mic. "Everybody shut up!" And the assembly was cut short right then and there. And after that, the "would you rather fight a gorilla or a chicken" became the most debated question in this school's history. People were making posters and hanging them on the wall. Gorilla versus chicken. Kevin never really said anything about it after that day. But for the rest of high school, people would walk past him in the hall and just whisper, "Hey Kevin, respectable choice." And that's how he became a legend. This high school made a huge mistake. All of the boys' bathrooms at this one high school were shut down by the school because somebody was stealing toilet paper. So they closed down the bathrooms until the person who was stealing toilet paper turned themselves in. Well, that's not fair to the other students. For about a week, the boys' bathrooms were closed, and the boys were getting very upset by it. How can they lock the bathrooms? That's super unfair to us. What if I had to poop? I have to poop right now. Me too, I can't take this anymore. I've been holding it in every single day. It can't be good for me. Boys, I have an idea. Everyone here holding your poops. After lunch, at exactly 1:15 p.m., stand on your desks and take a dump right there. If we all do it, we can't get in trouble. Spread the word. The second the clock hit 1:15, this is what happened. A total of 25 dudes pooped on their desks in the middle of class. The teachers were horrified. They tried to get them in trouble, but they could do nothing about it because the bathrooms were locked down. The school actually got into huge trouble for denying people bathroom privileges, and the poop incident went down in history. So in 8th grade, this kid had a crazy gaming setup at home, and he had the nicest stuff. He had a bunch of fancy controllers, fancy headsets, everything. Well, one day he brought one of his super nice Xbox controllers to school to fidget with. At lunch, his friend saw it and was like, "Hey, yo, let me borrow that for the weekend." "Nah, man, I kinda need it." But his friend pulled out $5 and said, "Hey, come on, just for 2 days, I'll pay you." So he took the money. And Monday, his friend returned the controller and said, "Bro, I would definitely rent this from you again." That's when his idea sparked. He started bringing all of his extra controllers from home to school, charging kids $5 for the weekend or $10 for the whole week. Then kids started asking him if he had any extra headsets, so he started bringing all of his nice headsets to school. By the next month, he was running a full-blown rental service. Controllers, headsets, even an extra keyboard. These kids were paying just to use the better gear at their house. He was making $40 to $50 a week just by doing this. But then one day, one kid lost one of his controllers. $1,000. And instead of paying for it, he snitched to a teacher. The principal then shut down the whole thing. But in total, this kid made over $1,500. You gotta respect the hustle. This is awesome. This person said that when he was in high school, he was applying to colleges, and there was one college that he really wanted to go to. So he was at his counselor's office, and they were talking about this. Yeah, so I really want to go to that school, Steven, and I think I can do it. Steven, you're not getting into the school, man. Steven was pissed. He went to the principal's office and told the principal the situation. Yeah, so Mr. Johnson just completely, disregarded me and shut me down, so that there's no way I'm getting into that school. Well, Steven, he has a point. I mean, look at the school and look at you. Apply to a state school, just go. This made Steven even more mad. So what did he do? He went home. He sat down at his computer and he began writing his college essay. He went to town. He was writing. He was thinking. His brainstorming. Thoughts were just spurting out of everywhere. He was done. He sent it off to that school that he really wanted to go to, and he waited. Well, time passed, and suddenly there was a big packet in his mailbox. He goes inside and he opens it. Accepted. I got in. I got in. He got into the school. Oh my God, he was so freaking excited. Well, it turns out this school was way too much money and he could not afford it, so he ended up not going to school, but he made copies of the acceptance letter and he taped it to the door of his counselor and the principal. One for you, and one for you. This kid roasted his teacher. So this one kid's school, there was this teacher who always tried to be the cool teacher, but ended up embarrassing himself a lot. He would crack jokes, roast students, act like he was one of the kids. Most times, students just ignored it. But then one day, this happened. Okay, class, we're gonna start the review for the test on Friday, but I'll be sure to explain it slowly so Liam can understand it. What? Oh, come on, man, you gotta fight back. Hit me with something, show me your personality. Maybe then you'll pass the test. Liam just sighs, leans back in his chair and says, "All right, Mr. Thomas, you asked for it. Why don't you finally admit that this is not the life you wanted? Maybe that's why your wife left you, your kids hate you, and you're stuck here trying to impress a bunch of 14-year-olds, you mayonnaise-loving Get it together." So one day in 7th grade, this kid got called into the principal's office. He had no idea why. He walks in, sits down, and the principal just stared at him. The principal asks, "So, you want to tell me what you did?" The kid's confused. "I have no idea what you're talking about." That's when the teacher walks in, and she looks pissed. "Don't play dumb, you know exactly what you did." Now the kid's kind of panicking. "I swear I don't know, what did I do?" "You skipped my class yesterday, but I know you were at school because I saw you before and after lunch." "What were you doing?" "Huh? Probably something illegal." But here's the thing. He was literally in her class yesterday. No, I wasn't. I was in class. I was sitting on my usual seat. You're crazy. I took attendance, and you were not there. Detention. Now, at this point, this kid is super frustrated. He already did not like this teacher. Now she's accusing him of skipping her class for whatever reason. So he asks the principal one simple question. "You have security cameras in every hallway, right?" Of course we do, yeah, for the safety of the school." "Then check them." The room goes silent. The teacher grows pale because she knows she messed up. They send the kid to sit outside the office while they looked at the cameras, and 15 minutes later, they called him back in. "We checked the footage. You were in class." "I know." "You can go. I'll handle your teacher." But as he was walking away from the office, he could hear the principal yelling at the teacher. "Now why on God's green earth would you make something like that up?" "Oh, I didn't. You better shut your mouth. You're on thin ice. You're on thin ice." When this kid was in 5th grade, his teacher had one really strict rule. She never repeated herself. She would explain things once, and if you didn't hear it, well, too bad. Well, one day, the class was working on a really big assignment that was due the next day. The teacher stood up and said, "All right, listen up. I'm only saying this once." Then she explained the instructions in one long, fast speech. The second she was done, this kid, let's call him Ralph, raised his hand. "Excuse me, can you just repeat that last part, please?" "Ralph, what's the rule?" You don't repeat yourself?" "Exactly, so figure it out." A few minutes later, Ralph was tapped in the shoulder by one of his classmates. "Hey, I got you, man. I wrote all of it down. Here." He took the notes, relieved, super thankful, and he started copying them down on his own piece of paper. And he thought that that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The teacher came over and snatched the notes off his desk. "Absolutely not. If you didn't listen the first time, that's your problem." "Are you kidding me? Well, Jake just sat there silent, didn't say a word. The next day, the class turned in that assignment that was due. Once the teacher was done grading it, she said, "You didn't turn anything in." "Yeah, because I didn't hear the instructions." "Well, that's a 0. And you're a What did you say? You heard me? No, what did you say? "I'm sorry, miss. I don't repeat myself." I mean, it was crazy, but it kind of worked because from that day on, the teacher went easy on Ralph, and she even let him do that assignment over again. Now, this principal had a secret. This person said that back in 8th grade, there was a principal named Mr. Reynolds, and Mr. Reynolds was way too intense. He had this whole no phones in school rule, but he took it to a weird level. If he even saw the outline of your phone in your pocket, he would stop you in the hallway. Give it to me." No, I'm not even using it." "Doesn't matter, you know the rules." And the worst part, he'd keep it locked in his office until the end of the day. And if it was like the 3rd or 4th time he had to take your phone away from you, your parents would have to come in and get it. So absolutely just crazy. Well, this one girl, let's call her Ashley. She had had enough. He took her phone one day for checking the time during lunch. Give me that! "I'm literally checking the time. You know the rules." So the next day, she told her older brother, who was already graduated but still had friends at the school. And he came up with a plan. "Got you, sis." That weekend, Ashley's brother made a fake email address, pretending to be from the school's IT department. And he sent an email to the school board, saying there was suspicious activity coming from the principal's computer. Send. Take that, Mr. Reynolds. Now, he was just trying to make Mr. Reynolds' life a living hell. He didn't think anything of it, really. Just to mess with him real bad. But on Monday, an actual person from the school district showed up at that school. Turns out, Mr. Reynolds had a handful of students' phones backed up on his computer. He found out how to bypass passcodes, and some of them didn't even have passcodes, so he was just uploading stuff to his computer. Text messages, photos, everything. A complete invasion of privacy and super, super creepy. And he was fired on the spot. So Ashley's brother trying to prank the principal turned out to be something that actually needed to happen. This dude was messed up. No goodbyes, just walked out the building while the students watched. "Get a life, loser! Screw you, Mr. Reynolds! You're a freaking creep! Bye!" Ashley got her phone back, and the students got a principal that actually cared about them. This teacher had a secret drawer. When this guy was in 7th grade, his teacher did this weird thing. She had one drawer in her desk that she never opened. She'd grab pencils, papers, even her coffee mug from all the other drawers, but that one drawer, she would never touch. One day while she was out sick, that class had a substitute. And in the middle of a lesson, that sub needed a stapler. "I need a stapler." Okay. So she went over to the desk and started opening drawers. Grabbed a few things, and then she got to the forbidden drawer, and she opened it. Well, the students noticed her open this drawer. Oh, what is this? Inside the drawer was a McDonald's bag, perfectly intact. The sub went into the bag and pulled out a medium-sized McDonald's fry. What in the world? It looked normal, like it was just bought yesterday. How long has this been in there? "I don't know, miss, but honestly, I would leave it." And she did. She put that right back in the drawer and closed it. The next day, the teacher was back, and everybody was dying to know what was up with those french fries. "I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Yes, I'm feeling much better." "Hey, miss?" "Oh, yeah, Carlos." Why do you have McDonald's fries in your drawer?" The teacher just smirked. "Because they never rot. I bought them 5 years ago." 5 years? Holy crap. The class was horrified. But they look completely normal. Exactly. That's why I keep them. It's my little experiment. Food should not look like that after 5 years. In that class for the rest of the year, whenever somebody brought up McDonald's or talked about food in general, she would pull out those 5-year-old McDonald's fries, just to make a point how bad fast food is for you. When this kid was 10 years old, he was at the grocery store with his mom. He was messing around in the candy aisle when he decided to steal some gum. He thought to himself, "I'm a criminal mastermind." When him and his mom got to the checkout, his mom paid for everything except the pack of gum in her son's pocket. As soon as they walked outside, he pulled out the gum and started chewing it. His mom turned around. "Where did you get that?" Well, instead of admitting he stole it, he panicked and he said, "That man gave it to me and he told me to get in his car." "That man?" The man was standing by the front of the store. The mom turned around and stormed to the store's entrance. She saw one of the store's employees. "Excuse me, this man right here gave my son candy and told him to get in his car." "What? Him? Wait, what? Wait, no, I didn't. We need to call security now. You stay there." "What? I didn't do anything." Within minutes, store employees were calling the police. This man was in hot water, but he didn't do anything wrong. The kid just stood there watching, chewing his gum.
Hands behind your back. I said hands behind your back.
This kid ran a school candy empire. When this dude was in middle school, he realized something. The school cafeteria charged way too much money for snacks. So he decided to start his own business. He went to the dollar store, bought a huge bag of candy for cheap, and started selling them at school. And let me tell you, this is a great idea. I did this when I was in school. At first, he sold candy bars for $1 each. You know, making small profits here and there. But the more kids that started buying from him and the more product he was buying himself, he raised his prices. $3 for Snickers, $5 for a bag of Sour Patch Kids. People were paying and business was booming. He ran this candy empire for a while. He even had employees that would sell the product in different hallways at the school. But one day, the lunch lady saw him selling these snacks during lunch, and she got mad. I wonder if it's because kids weren't buying their snacks anymore, they were buying this dude's candy. So she turned him into the principal, and everything was shut down. In total, this kid made about $2,000. His friend's house had the weirdest rule ever. This dude said when he was younger, he was spending the weekend at one of his friend's house. They were in the kitchen getting snacks when his friend casually said, "Hey bro, don't eat the last chip." He grabbed the chip bag that his friend was talking about. He opened it and looked inside. There was literally one chip left in this bag. One chip. Why not? Because the last chip is for the house. What? He laughed. He thought he was joking and he popped that chip in his mouth. He ate it. Okay. A few moments later, the mom walked into the kitchen and saw that the last chip had been eaten from this chip bag. Who finished it? There was only one chip left. She just stared at him. That doesn't matter. The last chip is for the house. Always. He figured it was just a weird moment. Him and his friend went about their night. They were playing video games, just chilling. The next morning, this kid goes looking for some cereal in a cabinet, and that's when he saw it. Dozens of snack bags, all of them open, each with exactly one chip left. At this point, he was like, what is going on with this family? Bro, what is this? That's the house's cabinet, and those are the house's chips. Did you not listen to my mom yesterday? Bro, what? At that point, this kid was just hungry. He called his mom, and she came to pick him up. What is with these weird families, man? Now, this is a school business. When this kid was in middle school, he had an idea. So his school banned energy drinks, but kids still wanted them really bad. So he decided to start his secret business. He would bring in cans of energy drinks hidden in his backpack, and he would sell them for $5 a piece. Now, at first, it was just a few of his friends buying from him. But word got out, and suddenly, everybody wanted to buy from him. Now, business was immediately booming. And because the school banned energy drinks, and he was the only one selling them, he raised his prices to $10 a can, and people still bought them. For months and months, he ran this operation, and he never got caught. He even had a system. He would take orders in the morning, and he would make secret drop-offs in between classes. But one day, a gym teacher saw him hand an energy drink to another student and take money from him. Instead of shutting this kid down and turning him in, all he said was, "Be careful." So he kept going. Then, one day, the principal got involved. A teacher saw a kid chugging an energy drink in the hallway, so the teacher inquired, and that kid snitched. The principal pulled this kid into the office, and just like that, the business was shut down. But, in total, he made over $7,000. You gotta respect the hustle. This school prank lasted for 2 years. It all began at this high school when a single rubber duck appeared in the school's water fountain. And nobody thought much of it. It was just a random duck. Who cares? Until the next day, 2 ducks, then 4, then 10. By the end of that week, there was rubber ducks appearing in every sink, every toilet, and even in students' lockers. Teachers were losing their minds. The principal, she was done. She kept saying on the intercom, "Whoever's responsible for the ducks, speak up now, please." Silence. Nobody confessed. So they gave up. They figured it would eventually sizzle out. But here's the thing, it never stopped. For 2 years, rubber ducks would randomly appear in the craziest of places. Ceiling tiles, inside the vending machines, somehow. One duck even appeared in the vice principal's car. It became a legend till this senior year. It was graduation. The principal was giving her speech when suddenly a banner dropped down. What was on the banner? A single rubber duck. This kid walked to the front of the stage and said, "It was me. It was always me." So this one high school had a basement. Students didn't really know it existed. It was used for maintenance, storage, stuff like that, and it was always locked. Well, one day, this kid, let's call him Jake, was wandering around the school during his free period when he noticed the door to the basement was kind of ajar. The janitor forgot to lock it, so he goes down there. It was a huge, dusty storage room. Old desks, broken chairs, random junk everywhere. But in the middle of the room, there was this tiny metal box that caught his attention. What is that? So he opens it. Inside the box was a single envelope. He picked it up, felt something inside, and he looked. And what he found in there would make his stomach drop. Oh my God. Inside the envelope was an old student ID. The photo was faded. The name was a name he did not recognize, and the date on it, 1986. Underneath the ID was a set of car keys, and underneath the car keys, a newspaper clipping. The headline, high school senior still missing, car found abandoned in school parking lot. He slammed the box shut and ran the heck up the stairs. He was getting out of there. He tried telling a teacher what he saw. The teacher was kind of curious, so she went to the basement door, but it was locked. The janitor walks up. Hi, can I help you? Yeah, one of my students was curious about something in here. Do you mind if I come down here and take a look? Looking for like a metal box or something? Oh, sure. Yeah. She goes down there, but there wasn't a metal box to be found anywhere. She thanks the janitor, goes back upstairs, and tells the student, I don't know what you saw, but there's nothing down there right now, so it must have been your imagination or something. Go to class. But deep down, he knows he came across something very sinister that day. He started a business at school and he made absolute bank. So this kid loved spicy food. So one day, he brought a bunch of spices from home, and during lunch, he started putting these spices into bags of chips, just testing out different flavors. He tried it. It was good. He let his friends try it. They loved it. So the next day, a bunch of people were asking him if they could make them their own bag of these seasoned chips. So he began bringing extra chips and extra seasoning to school and selling these seasoned chip bags for $2 a piece. But baby business was booming. Demand exploded. Within a month, kids were paying $5 a bag. And he had a full operation. He would mix the spices at home, season the chips and pack them in Ziploc bags, and he would be selling them before school even started every day. And every day, he sold out. People couldn't get enough of these awesome chips. But one day, a teacher caught a group of students standing in the hallway, secretly passing around these spicy chips like it was contraband. So she shut it down, reported this to the principal, and someone gave him this kid's name. So this dude was called to the principal's office. But here's where it gets awesome. The principal thought this idea was absolutely genius. Instead of stopping him, he told the kid to turn it into a real business. The last I heard about this story was that the kid was trying to get an Instagram page started and a website. He was going to begin selling these chips outside of just school. And I hope the best for him, because man, you gotta respect the hustle. At this one middle school, there was this rule, and the rule was called the bubble. The rule was no students in the school were allowed to come within an arm's length of one another in the hallway for any reason. And if kids broke that rule, they would get in trouble. Want to give your friend a high five? Detention. You want to lend your friend a pencil in between classes? Detention. Is your friend having a really bad day and you want to give them a quick hug in the hallway? Extra detention with a possibility of suspension. Give me a break. This teacher is the absolute worst. At this one middle school, in math class one year, there was this very awful teacher. She would scream at her students, refuse to answer any questions, and she would act very aggressive at very small things, kind of like she had anger issues. Well, one day in this math class, they were going over the answers to a math packet, and one girl in this class, let's call her Tina, flipped to the next page a little too early. Well, somehow, from all the way across the room, the teacher noticed this, and she stormed over. Are you in a rush, Tina? Because if so, you can take your stuff and you can leave. She smacked her hand on Tina's desk, and Tina was horrified. She started packing her stuff, getting ready to leave. Well, apparently, Tina wasn't fast enough because the teacher grabbed her by the arm, shoved her out of the classroom into the hallway, and slammed the door. And stay out there! After class, her friends found Tina crying in the hallway. And so, when they got to the next class, which was PE, they told one of the coaches, and the coach did not like to hear this. You said, what happened? All right, well, you guys just hang out here, okay? I'll be back. After PE, everybody that was in that math class was brought into the dean's office, and one by one, they were questioned. And just before Thanksgiving break, that horrible, awful teacher was fired. That's karma for you. This kid ran a super weird business at his school. So, in middle school, this kid noticed something weird at lunch. Kids would come back to the table with their lunch trays, but a lot of them wouldn't touch their carton of milk. And they always had milk because the school forced them to take it, even if they didn't want it. And that's where he got his idea. He started collecting these untouched milk cartons every day from his friends. After lunch, he would stash them in his locker. They were still cold. Then, during the last period, when the sports teams had their practices, you would take the milk to the gym and try to sell them for $1 a piece. Now, I don't know what he was thinking, because who in their right mind would drink milk or chocolate milk during a sports practice? And as you can imagine, business wasn't really booming at all. Although there were some super weird kids that did buy this milk from him. He tried doing this business for a couple months, but one day there was an awful smell coming from his locker. The janitor opened it and found upwards of 60 cartons of milk in there, rotting. The principal obviously shut him down and he was suspended. You gotta respect the hustle, I guess. This guy said that when he was a kid, his mom had this crazy punishment for whenever he talked back to them or used inappropriate language. Hey, I said no Minecraft till you're done with your homework. Homework is dumb, Mom. This is bullshit. Whenever something like that happened, she would force him to smell the dog's breath. Get your dog? Mom, no.
I said get your dog.
Rufus, come here, buddy. Come here, Rufus. I'm just gonna hold your mouth open for a second, okay? Smell it. Smell it. What did you eat today, man? Black markets kids ran in their schools, a subscriber submission. At this person's middle school, the lunchroom never served any sides with any of their meals. So if they were serving hot dogs, it was just a hot dog. Burgers, it was just the burgers. Pizza, just the pizza. Well, the kids at the school thought this was bogus. Every good lunch needs a side. So this guy had a brilliant idea. Every morning before school, he would heat up a bunch of French fries in his air fryer. And I'm talking a lot of French fries. He would then put them in an insulated pack so they stayed warm. And at lunch, he would sell them to other students. It was an immediate hit. Business was, you know what I'm gonna say, booming. On average, he was making $100 a day. This went on for weeks. You can imagine how much money he was making. One day, the school found out what he was doing, but they didn't shut it down. They were impressed. So they gave him his own stand to run during lunch, where he would sell the fries that he made. All in all, he had made over $10,000. This is a true story. This is the third assembly I've had to call for this. I am done. So, let's back up. What was that assembly for? Well, the person that shared this story said that all throughout middle school, all 3 years, there was a kid that would tuck unwrapped Hostess zingers inside of every single toilet paper dispenser in the school, every single day. So every day, whoever was lucky enough to be the first person to use that toilet paper would have an unwrapped Hostess zinger fall into their hands. What the heck? Now, like I said, this was a mystery for 3 years, which now brings us to the assembly. I want to know right now, please, give yourself up. And finally, the kid did. He figured it was time to put this all to rest. It's been me the whole time. When this kid was in middle school, he bought a shoe customization kit, and he was skilled enough to design stuff like this on people's shoes. Well, he decided to start a business. He charged kids $10 for him to customize their shoes. But more and more people started getting interested in this, and business started booming. So he raised his price to $50 per customization. Things were going great, and he was running this business for 3 months, until one day the vice principal walked in on him in the bathroom designing some shoes. The vice principal saw him and told him that he had to ask the principal if he could continue. Well, the principal said, yeah, for sure, keep going. And he did. He continued this business for 7 months. But then one day, a school board official was visiting the school, and the school board official caught him in the bathroom as well. He was then shut down completely. In total, he made about $11,000. That's insane. Here's a crazy McDonald's story. So the person that shared this said that she used to work at McDonald's. Well, this lady pulls through and orders a large high C. The girl working the drive-thru said that when they pulled up to pay and get their drink, she heard a lot of people in the car giggling, but she didn't really think too much of it. So she takes her money. All right, that's $2.50. Thank you. And here's your drink. Then, not even 2 seconds later, as she was turning around, she heard the lady in the car scream, "Fire in the hole!" The woman in the car then threw the large drink directly at the drive-thru worker. But somehow the worker was quick, and she managed to ninja chop that cup directly back into that person's car. Oh! It's all over me! The customer who threw the cup then got very mad and demanded that she speak to a manager. I want to speak to a manager right now. This is unacceptable. The drive-thru worker then tells her manager what happened. They banned her from that McDonald's for the rest of her life. This kid's a legend. So at this one high school, there was one kid that somehow managed to bring a whole rotisserie chicken to lunch every single day. Now, I'm not talking about some lunchbox-sized meal, oh no. I'm talking about a full-sized grocery store rotisserie chicken. And he wouldn't sit down and eat it with a fork and a knife. He would eat it like an absolute caveman. He would crack his knuckles and just start going to town, tearing that chicken apart with his bare hands. You know, at first, people ignored it because they thought maybe this was just a one-time thing. But then he kept doing it every single day. Well, I guess this was an issue for some people because then the school took notice and teachers tried to stop him, but technically he wasn't breaking any rules. There wasn't a no eating a whole chicken at lunch rule in the handbook because, it got to a point where the principal literally begged this kid to stop doing it because it was making everybody uncomfortable. The kid just looked at him in the eye, took a bite of his chicken and said, "What are you gonna do? Suspend me for eating lunch?" And honestly, respect.
দেখ শোনো, আমি একটা জিনিস ভাবতেছিলাম।
কি বলো তো?
সেটা হচ্ছে যে I think we can be a very good team. জীবনে তো কোনো হাফ ডান প্র্যাঙ্কের ইতিহাস নেই। আজকে এটারে ফুল ডান করে ছাড়বো ভাই।
What the?
I should go now. I should go now.
না, he just go now. ঠিক আছে।
এপ্রিল ফুল। আজকে 1 এপ্রিল। তুমি সবাইকে বোকা বানাও, আমরা আজকে তোমাকে বোকা বানিয়েছি।
নেন, মানব কল্যাণে ম্যাক্স আগে আসবে, এটাই তো স্বাভাবিক।
হ্যালো? আরে ঠিকানা তো খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না। আপনি কোন ঠিকানা দিছেন?
খারাপ হবে না। তাছাড়া তুমি তো দেখতে শুনতে ভালোই সুন্দরী। একটা সুন্দরী মেয়ে যদি টিমের সাথে থাকে, খারাপ কি? I'd love to. No worries.
শেষ।
মাই ফোন আমার কষ্ট করে কেনা ফোন।
শাট আপ। একটা কথা আর বলবি না।
কি সমস্যা? কি সমস্যা তোমাদের?
তুমি নাকি আমার ফোন ভেঙে ফেলছো?
ফোনটা তো আনাই হইছে। খুঁজে না এখন।
দেখেন, আপনারা যে আমাকে থানা নিচ্ছেন, আপনাদের থানাও কিন্তু আমার ফ্যান ফলোয়াররা ঘেরাও করে ফেলবে। হোসেন ভাই, ম্যান, আপনারা একটু পরে আমার সাথে সেলফি তুলতে চান, তখন আমি তুলবো না।
থানা নিয়ে যান, থানা নিয়ে যান। শোন, ওই যে ও দেখ শুয়ে আছে ও। আজকে ব্যাটার 3 নাম্বার গাছটা তার পেছনে গিয়ে তুই কিন্তু দাঁড়াবি। ঠিক আছে? ঠিক আছে। আজকে ব্যাটার খবর আছে।
আরো নেক্সট লেভেল। হাউ?
আমার মাথায় একটা আইডিয়া এসেছে। ওই কন্টেন্ট যদি তুমি বানাতে পারো, একদম হিট, ভাইরাল হয়ে যাবে একদম।
তুই এটা করতে পারলি?
কেন মা, ও কি কম ফুটফুটে? পুরো ব্ল্যাক ডায়মন্ড, দেখো মা।
আমার না মাথা ঘুরতেছে।
যে ফোন আমার ছেলের লাইফস্টাইল নষ্ট করে, সে ফোন আমি রাখবো না। এটাই আমার সিদ্ধান্ত বাবা। তোমাকে এবার আমাদের মতো করে চলতে হবে। ইউটিউবের ভিউ দিয়ে আমাদের খেতে হবে না।
সো আমি যার সাথে দেখা করতে যাচ্ছি সে যদি স্ট্রেট ফরওয়ার্ড না হয় তাহলে তার খবরই আছে।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে ভাই, আমি যাচ্ছি, এদেরকে ছাড়েন, আমি উঠতেছি। ভাই আমার ভক্তকুল কিন্তু আপনার থানা ঘেরাও করে ফেলবে। ওকে, নো ওয়ারিজ, আমি আবার এসব বিষয়ে অনেক উদার। চলো,
ওকে, লেটস ডু ইট টুগেদার।
বাই, টাটা।
পেয়ে গেলাম মানে এই যে আমরা একজন একজনের সামনাসামনি, চোখাচোখি, মুখোমুখি, আমি তোমাকে ধরতে পারতেছি, ফিল করতে পারছি।
ও ভাইয়া, প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল।
ও প্র্যাঙ্ক, ওকে ওকে, চালিয়ে যান, ক্যারি অন।
নাদিম শুনো,
মাঝখানে ফোকাস ছিল না, ডিফোকাস হয়ে গেছে, এই সেই। তুই এটা কোন লেন্স ইউজ করিস?
টেলিলেন্স
কত?
ওই যে 50-50।
শোনো, আমি বলছি পসিবল, না কিন্তু এই যে গরম কফি গায়ে ঢেকে দেবো। বলো পসিবল?
ওকে ফাইন, পসিবল।
এই মেয়ে লোকটাকে তুই বিয়ে করতে পারবি?
টিন্ডার থেকে তুমি এর আগে আর কারোর সাথে কফি ডেট করেছো আমি ছাড়া?
হোয়াট? আমাকে কি দেখে মনে হয় চিপ? আমি এক্সক্লুসিভ ভার্সন, ওকে? আই এম নট অ্যাভেলেবল। কি ছিল? কি ছিল?
প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল, বিশেষ হচ্ছে না এই যে
Prank
আই সুইট, ওই যে দেখেন মনোপড নিয়ে দাঁড়ায় আছে, এই যে আরেকজন ইফতে, রাইট, এই শিখেছি তোরে 50 কি টেলিলেন্স নাকি? 85 ইউজ করবি, দরকার পড়লে তোর আমি 70-200 কিনা দিব।
তুই টেনশন করিস না, হ্যাঁ?
কোনো চোর না, চুরি না, ডাকাতি না, এটা প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল, টোটালি প্র্যাঙ্ক। প্র্যাঙ্ক শিখাইছে উস্তাদ। কেমন হলো প্র্যাঙ্ক?
তাই তো, কেন ফোন যায় না? না, তোমার নাম্বারটা তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলো।
ঘন্টার পর তো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের লাগে ওয়েট করতে পারো, আর বন্ধুর লাগে 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে পারবা না?
ও, এখন আমার দোস্ত, তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিট লেগে গেল।
আরে বেটা, এত লাফাইস না, যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা।
বাদ দে, কালকে 4টা দেখা হবে।
ঠিক আছে মামা,
ঠিক আছে মামা।
ঠিক মতো যা।
শালা পারলাম না রে।
আরে তোর তো হাওয়াটা একটু হয়ে গেল।
তুলি, তুই তো সুন্দর নাম। আচ্ছা শোনো, আমি জিসান, আই লাভ ইউ।
আপনাদের তো চিনলাম না। আমার বড় বোনের যে দেবরগুলো আছেন তো সবাইকেই চিনি, বাট আপনাদেরকে তো চিনি না।
যাইতে দে, তাহলে আমার খালা লাগে। কোথায় বলতা? ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস তাই রক্ত লাগবে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো? বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
কারণ না, কারণ না, আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো না বাবা। প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা, আমার খালি ওরে দরকার।
This kid's a legend. So at this one high school, there was one kid that somehow managed to bring a whole rotisserie chicken to lunch every single day. Now, I'm not talking about some lunchbox-sized meal. Oh no. I'm talking about a full-sized grocery store rotisserie chicken. And he wouldn't sit down and eat it with a fork and a knife. He would eat it like an absolute caveman. He would crack his knuckles and just start going to town. tearing that chicken apart with his bare hands. You know, at first people ignored it because they thought maybe this was just a one-time thing, but then he kept doing it every single day. Well, I guess this was an issue for some people because then the school took notice and teachers tried to stop him, but technically he wasn't breaking any rules. There wasn't a no eating a whole chicken at lunch rule in the handbook because, like, you know, it got to a point where the principal literally begged this kid to stop doing it because it was making everybody uncomfortable. And the kid just looked at him in the eye, took a bite of his chicken and said, "What are you gonna do? Suspend me for eating lunch?" And honestly, respect.